I like that. You nearly missed the clap.
I know.
That's great hand-eye coordination, Harry.
Okay.
Is it working?
It looks like
So here we are. Invision.
Invision. Well.
People have been taking the mickey out of me for that. But here we are. It's not finished. But it's...
Hang on. This is episode 1, so there's going to be a few...
So can this be glitchy?
No, but I'm just worried. You sound really loud and I sound...
Well, that's perfect.
Yeah.
So we're going to put a sign up.
Yeah, we need to do that.
But we don't know where to get it from yet, or how, or what it's going to be called. But it is Invision, and I'm quite excited. It's been a long time coming. Sam's at college. That's why I've got his twin. So it's not perfect yet. I need a sign, and I need a decent guest.
I built this. If it wasn't for me, none of this would be here.
Harry stuck this foam.
And I got the mic
to the wall.
I got the lights. I think it looks good.
It does look good. It does. Can I just clarify? I paid for it all.
Yeah, but without you're like the investor, and I'm like the builder.
Through my business, my This is late to the party, the podcast party.
Yeah.
How late am I?
I don't really know.
A decade? I reckon that's good.
Podcast was that big 10 years ago.
No, but if you said to me, "Yes, Dad," a decade, I'd go, "That's pretty good."
Yeah, for you, yeah.
That's pretty good. That's progress for me.
Yeah. I don't know when... I want to listen to the Desert Island Discs podcasts.
That's brilliant.
I've only just found out what that's about.
It's brilliant, yeah.
You choose songs, don't you?
You choose the songs that you would take... choose the, I think, 7 songs that reflect or have most impact on your life, or your favourite songs, and why they are...
What song summarises your life?
Oh, that's a bit of a curveball to throw at me. But most people, when they go on Desert Island Disc, they're for a long time to prep.
This is just on the spot. One song.
Denis Denis by Debbie Harry, because it's the first single I ever bought.
No, but like a lyrical song that symbolises your life.
Another one bites the dust.
Bites the dust.
No, but Denis Denis was my first single. People see your generation have missed out on that because you didn't buy singles.
Well, I buy vinyl.
No, but we used to go and buy vinyl.
Buy vinyl singles.
Single 70p.
Wow.
And my first single was Debbie Harry. I fancied Debbie Harry. I love Debbie Harry.
Grandad Tony, when he passed, I went through his record collection, and he had a Louis Armstrong one that cost him 99p.
Yeah.
Like, you buy a vinyl now for like 22 quid.
Yeah.
It's mad, isn't it?
That's what inflation is, you see. That's because the value of the currency is reduced.
Yeah.
So you need more dollars, more pounds to buy the same thing. But that wouldn't be on my top 7, by the way. But it is an important record because, as I say, it was my first. And Debbie Harry was on my wall. Do you know who Debbie Harry is?
No.
Do you know who Blondie is?
I know Blondie is, yeah.
Blondie, Heart of Glass.
Right.
Yeah, so that's my first single. But that's a great show, and it's a show running forever. And it doesn't matter which guest is on. You might have a famous actor, a famous writer, or then you might have a virologist, and they'll tell you about how they got into science and how good they were, and how they were influenced in science. And
right, wow.
Yeah, so it's an interesting show.
Clever show.
It's been running forever.
Really?
Yeah, the guy who developed it, I think it's called Roy Plumley.
Oh, wow.
And his family must be just cashing a check. Because he's dead now, Roy Plumley. But it runs and runs and runs. And it will be a show that...
But that's a clever idea for a show. I think that's the thing with podcasts, isn't it?
Well, people said to me...
the ability to create your own...
Circumvent the gatekeepers is what I call it. Circumvent means avoid. The gatekeepers are the editors and the commissioners who say yes or no, who are the Nero. The yes to you or no to you.
Like
BBC, Channel 4, TV shows, Netflix. So, because we get rejected.
Yeah.
If you're a creator and you're trying to become a creator, I am a creator. Let me tell you, one of the biggest things you'll have to have in your armory is being able to deal with disappointment.
Yeah.
Because that's literally, it's almost literally what you, it's almost the oxygen of creativity. You have to deal with it because everything's relative.
Success, I think.
Yeah, you have successes, but
I don't think that there's many people on this earth that have success without rejection and failure.
No, that's the point.
But that's the thing. You can't have success without dealing with it. Because if you don't deal with rejection well, you won't be successful.
Okay, so there you go. In a nutshell, there. I heard a guy on the radio the other day called Con Iggulden.
Right.
Now, Con Iggulden is. I met him back in the day. We had a mutual friend. He used to come to some shows. He was a bit of a fan. And he was a nice guy, and he wrote a book called Rome.
Right.
Probably the same time I was writing Only in America, around that time. Anyway, Rome exploded.
Right.
And it sold all over the world. He's now a millionaire author.
Right.
Writes big fat tomes, sort of historical tomes, And he was being interviewed on the radio the other day, and I was listening to him thinking, oh, this is Con. I met this guy back in the day. And they were saying, what about your book's been made into a movie? And he sort of sighed heavily and went, and he said, I sold the rights to this film, to this book, I don't know, 13, 14, 15 years ago. And when it gets made, fine. But until then, so obviously he was disappointed.
That's like, I guess, the author of the book that Tom and I are developing. That's probably been, people have been trying to make that film for years.
Through the mill. Yeah, okay, so what I'm saying is Con and the author of your series, as happy they will be with their sales, it's not tainted, but it's tinged by, oh God, I'd love it to have been made into a film. He'll be looking at Spartacus. Yeah. He'll be looking at
Has it still not been made?
No, still not been made.
Wow.
But it's the rights are all done, and I've had different directors that have had it set up, then it falls over. They have it set up again, then it falls over, and how he copes with that is a factor of how successful he is going forward.
I guess so, but I guess he's also in a position where that rejection doesn't blight his success because he's successful as an author. Yeah,
it's easier. It's softened by his success. Yeah. But I get lots of emails from people. I got an email from a lady in America just recently saying she had a screenplay rejected, and she was asking me, how do I cope with rejection? And I just said, well, it's part of a long game.
Yeah.
And you obviously at the moment it's devastating for you. And I've been abjectly disappointed in the past. Yeah. Only in America was almost set up and fell over, and I was really disappointed. However, I look back now and I think, well, it all served some purpose.
Yeah.
And I just think you have to look at it as a real long-term project. But how you back yourself is a big part of your success in show business. Yeah.
Well, in any industry, really.
It's funny how I just said to you earlier, because people, when they read Eclipsed, I often get emails from people, and then I would say universally complimentary, saying, I really love the book, it's very honest, it's heartfelt and all that stuff. And it was heartfelt, I really enjoyed writing it. But a lot of people say to me, you're very hard on yourself.
Yeah.
And they say, you're too hard on yourself, which is a sort of compliment, because it's a sort of a way of saying you're really good.
Yeah.
But it's also, it also grates on me, because for two reasons. It grates on me for two reasons, because, well, first of all, I'm writing for comic effect. And self-deprecation. If I was going to write a big up, hey, my son's a film star and I'm really funny as well, it wouldn't be a very nice tonally book. No. It wouldn't be a nice tone to the book. So I'm writing for comic effect, but also I have had a good career, having a good career, but I'm just honest.
Yeah.
And what I say in my career is I've had no deficiency in comedy. I can make people laugh. I can write funny stuff. I can make people laugh in the room. But what I've never had, which is what I say in the book, I've never had, I think, the magic ingredient that a lot of very prominent people in my area have, which is massive kahunas. Absolute confidence, sort of you see in their eyes, there's no sense of doubt. There's no backing down.
Like an
athlete, I'm the guy, get out of my way, I'm going to get through to the top. And I was always, oh, no, after you. And I see that more and more as I get older. And because we're doing this podcast, and obviously I'm looking at podcasts, so obviously my search engines are aware that Dominic Holland is now looking at different podcasts. And the thing flashed up on my screen the other day. I didn't know who it was. It was a 5-minute video, and it was a post-comedy gig in America. And it was a guy who'd been on stage, and a bunch of ladies came up to him and were sort of goading him about his gig. They were sort of in a quiet way, but they were maligning him, and he went for them. He unbelievably tore a strip off them, and I was watching it thinking, oh my God. And it was really quite hard to watch. He was really eloquent, this bloke. He was forthright. He was unbelievably confident, and he tore a strip off this woman who was having a go at him. And it turned out to be Joe Rogan. And I didn't know who it was until the end.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh my God, and I know who he is now because I've seen some of his podcasts. And I've never seen Joe do stand-up. I've seen Bill Burr. I've
never seen him do stand-up.
Louis C.K. I've worked with Louis C.K.
Yeah.
But if you said to me, that's a stand-up comedian who is not famous then, but is going to become one of the world's most wealthy stand-ups or comedians, I'd have completely got it.
Yeah, because he's so...
Because I looked at him, I thought, oh my God, this guy's got... He's got the kahunas that I think is... I don't think you can acquire them.
Yeah.
I don't think you can acquire that sort of sense of self.
Yeah,
but he definitely had it.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I had someone come up to me at the Comedy Store 17 years ago and take an issue with my act. My entire being would have been conciliatory.
Yeah,
it would have been, I'm really sorry, I didn't mean to offend you.
Yeah.
As opposed to, get the fuck out of my face, you know.
Yeah, this is my act.
My act,
say what
fuck
I want.
you. Yeah, I would have been much more reticent and apologetic.
Yeah.
And I suppose nice. And Joe was not nice. He was unbelievably aggressive and forthright.
Because I've seen the video, I don't think he's not nice.
I'm not saying he's not nice. I'm just saying
up for himself.
I'm saying he stood up for himself and backed himself. And even though he's been filmed, maybe that encouraged him. But I think he'd look at that tape now, Joe would say, yeah, she got what she deserved.
That's probably in a time where he's not thinking like, this video is going to go online tomorrow and I'm going to be in the... Do you know what I mean? Like,
see, I'm not talking about him personally. I'm saying I do think there's a correlation between his confidence and his future.
Yeah. No, I totally agree.
And people, I've never seen him do stand-up, but people have told me stand-ups have said he's nowhere near Louis C.K., he's nowhere near Bill Burr, but he's as successful as anyone.
But I think a lot of, especially younger people that know him, because everyone knows who Joe Rogan is, but they probably don't know he's a stand-up.
Right.
I've got to be honest, I didn't know for a long time that he was a stand-up.
Oh, did you not?
He's famous to me from commentating the UFC.
See, I don't watch UFC, so all I know about him is he sits in a booth with a very famous person, and they just chat. And he's very personable. He's obviously bright.
He's really bright.
He's really bright because I saw him the way he dismantled this lady. Because when you're approached after a gig by someone aggressively, you're on the back foot.
Yeah.
And you think you must be a confident person because I've been on stage with a microphone holding the room, and now you've got the confidence to come up to me. But he held his poise, and he was eloquent. He didn't trip his words up. And he was damning.
Yeah.
So he's certainly bright.
Yeah, he's definitely bright. Yeah.
But I think when people say to me, you're down on yourself, I'm just saying, look, guys, with the armory I had, with my comedy, with my funny, I did the best I could. But against something which I think is not held me back, but certainly constrained me, which is my lack of those kahunas that I think Jimmy Carr's got, Joe Rogan's got, Bill Burr's got, and Eddie Izzard's got. I used to work with Eddie back in the day, and Eddie used to say to me, I'm going to be one of the world's best comedians.
Yeah. You've got to put it out.
And if you said to me, you're going to be one of the world's best comedians, I'd have gone, I don't know. I'll just do the best gigs I can.
Yeah.
You know? So you going forward, getting rejected, it's part of if you fall over, then they've won.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
You know.
Especially like living in a house of actors. Not necessarily Tom now. Tom obviously went through his rejection, but like, you know, they're always doing self-tapes and they get close and then maybe they don't get it and they get some. But it is persevering through that.
That is, yeah. I mean, Tom did...
Acting's like one of the biggest professions for rejection. Starting out.
I think the hardest thing about acting is how impotent you are.
Yeah.
Because if you're a comedian, you can write your act.
Yeah. And as an actor, you're beholden. I heard Jim Carrey told a story that he said...
He's got kahunas.
He said when he went to Hollywood... what did his dad do? He said his dad was really funny and could have been a stand-up, but didn't... Again, like, didn't have the confidence, so he became an accountant or something.
I couldn't have done that.
Yeah. And then he said, he kept going for auditions and didn't get any work.
As an actor?
As an actor. And he went to this place in LA which like overlooks the city, and he said he wrote himself a check for $10 million. And he said, one day I'll cash this in because every director in Hollywood wants to work with me. Have you heard this story?
This is Jim Carrey. Yeah, I think I have heard this.
He was on an interview and he said, I've just signed my deal for The Mask for $10 million and I'm going to cash the check.
Okay. So that's a sort of visualization thing. If you read self-help books...
Yeah, they say that.
It's a burgeoning genre of books. visualize what you want to achieve. So
Yeah.
visualize that Porsche. I mean, I think it's a little simplistic, but Carey, the story I heard about Carey's family is they were a kind of bohemian, and they came from America in a camper van. They lived in the hills with all the kids, and they all started to go to auditions and what have you.
Yeah.
And Jim made it.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to the others.
I don't know. I don't know how many siblings he's got, but I heard a similar story with Shia LaBeouf. Like, he was at a poetry. He was at some sort of theatre gig, and the warm-up act didn't show up. And he was like 12, and he just got on stage and started reading poetry and got picked up. But I don't know if that's true.
But and if that were the case, if I was that 12-year-old in the audience, I'd have gone, God, I'd love to be able to go and do that. But I would never have done it.
Yeah.
Because I would have needed 3 or 4 miles to walk around a block to get my stuff together.
Yeah.
Whereas just the idea of just walking on stage.
And just performing.
And no. So again, my limitations. But if you saw Jim Carrey do that, I'm 2-time Golden Globes.
I've seen it. It's so good.
Okay, so it is funny. But if you read that, it would be a funny line. It would be a funny. But the way he delivered it.
Oh, it's hilarious.
And now I know he's a famous movie star comedian.
Yeah.
But it just still takes absolute poise and kahunas to deliver that.
Oh yeah.
Because if you delivered that with reticence or not with his intonation, people would have gone.
His manner.
And his manner. So again, he's a good example of someone who just thinks that, okay, I can make this comedy gold.
Well, that's why I think sometimes when I watch TV shows like, for example, New Girl. I watched it last night. You don't watch New Girl, but there's one of the characters called Shamir, and I often think like, if I'd read that in a script, your line, I would not have found that funny. But the way you deliver it, I don't know if it's like, you're making this funny. You've not been given a funny line. Your delivery is just what's making it funny.
Yeah, well, because I think Owen Wilson's one of the best comic actors.
Yeah, I love Owen.
And I think Owen Wilson can bring he can extract maximum humour. Whereas Will Ferrell is an overtly exaggerated comedian actor. No, he's brilliant, but he's very, very overt. Whereas I think Wilson's very constrained, but funny.
I think Vince Vaughn's like that.
Yeah, Vince Vaughn. Well, they all kind of play in the same films, don't they?
Yeah, well, they do. I watched Wedding Crashers the other night.
I
tell you who's the most nuanced comedy actor is Jason Bateman.
Yeah, he is good. But if you watch Meet the Parents, Wilson's got a cameo role playing the boyfriend. Playing the ex-boyfriend, and what he does with that script, which is well written, it's a really funny scene. He's got the thing fashioned out of a piece of wood or something, a trunk, and the way he delivered it was absolutely peerless, and it's very unheralded.
Yeah.
He's not going to win an Oscar for that.
Yeah, no, but he's brilliant.
Yeah,
I love him.
He's got a great voice, and a film which is very, I think, underrated with Ben Stiller was Starsky and Hutch. I thought that was a really funny film.
Yeah,
I didn't expect it to be funny because the TV show wasn't funny.
Yeah.
But again, he's playing Hutch, who was, a bent cop. He was, doing drugs. And,
I like that film.
And again, I think Owen Wilson is really funny doing that. But your casting is key, especially in comedy, because I watched that show the other day. Have you seen Schitt's Creek? Up Schitt's Creek?
No.
Okay, so it's Eugene Levy playing the patriarch, the father, and they're a wealthy Jewish family in Los Angeles who get ripped off by a feckless relative, and they end up having nothing, so they lose everything, billions.
Right.
But years ago for a joke he bought a hick town in America,
okay.
So that's all they can do now. Go and live in the hick town.
Right. Okay.
And I think Eugene Levy's got really, really, really comic, but I just didn't buy any of the other people in the show.
Really?
So I watched the first episode.
No, but it's one of those things.
You've got to let it grow.
You've got to get into it. Like, New Girl is an example again. When I watched that show, I didn't find some of the characters funny, but after like 5-6 episodes, you start to get their kind of character and humour.
Because you told me to watch Arrested Development with Jason Bateman, and I did think it was really, neat and clever, but I didn't persevere with it as you told me to. And it was probably because some of the characters kind of grated on me. But you said they became the best characters, so I should have stuck with it.
Yeah, Jason Bateman.
He's great in Game Night.
Oh, I watched that 2 nights.
That's a good film. I think that's. I mean, what films are funny? I always go on about My Cousin Vinny.
But Jason Bateman's he does. He's kind of like moved into more dramas, and he's so good at it. He's such a good director. You should watch The Outsider, because I watched The Outsider
Is that a
in
movie?
lockdown.
Is that a
No,
movie?
it's a TV show. It's a Stephen King
Oh,
adapted TV show. And the first episode I watched, and I was like watching it, like, fucking hell, this is so well
what's the
directed.
premise?
It's about it's like set in this local, like this small town in like, I don't know where it's set.
In America.
In America, but like Southern America, not Southern America, like
Yeah.
the
The
southern
southern
states.
states, yeah.
And this like unspeakable crime gets committed. Like a young boy is brutally murdered.
Okay.
And Jason Bateman is the town's baseball little league coach, and he's like a
Oh,
very
is he
respected guy.
accused?
And he gets accused, and there's
Okay.
like irrefutable evidence that he did it.
Okay,
But
yeah.
the
I
first
heard of it.
episode, it's interesting because when I watched that,
But wasn't it badly concluded?
yeah, I didn't like the ending. But when I watched the first episode, I thought this is one of the best directed episodes of TV I've seen. And then when I watched the first episode of Ozark recently, because he directed that, I kind of felt like you could tell he was still trying to find his style as a director. And I felt like over the season of Ozark, you could see like a progression in ability of
Did he
directing.
direct all of Ozark?
No, but he did like the first 2 episodes, I think, and then he does like the last 2 episodes of the first season. And I'm sure he does. I've not finished the second season yet, but the episode of Ozark was amazing.
But here's the thing, though. Okay, I don't. Well, maybe you can correct me, but if I were to give you now, how many Ozarks are there? 15, say 15.
How many episodes?
Yeah.
I think there's like 12 in the season.
Okay, say 12. So if I were to show you episode 7, I would say challenge you that you wouldn't be able to watch it and say Bateman didn't direct this.
Yeah, but that's because I don't think Jason Bateman had a style.
Okay, but well, I would say the
Maybe
same
he
thing.
does. I think there's definitely a style in The Outsider, but like if you showed me...
I would say the same thing though. I would say you can't discern what, because these movies, these series have multiple directors.
Yeah, but a series is different. If you showed me a Spielberg film that I didn't know he directed, I could probably tell you it was him. Same with Tarantino or Scorsese or Wes Anderson. Like the big directors who are authors and have a style.
Yeah,
You can
okay. I
see.
certainly think with Wes Anderson because it's heightened.
Yeah, Wes Anderson's obvious, but
Yeah.
like David Fincher.
I don't think you could tell that Bridge of Spies was Spielberg.
Well, I was watching
I
some...
don't think you could.
Yeah,
How
but-
would you?
Because I was watching some stuff on Spielberg and his use of one-ers in scenes. But like David Fincher, for example, I love David Fincher, and I started researching, like
Did you
watching
use
some
seven?
essays.
Seven. That's
He's
great.
got a really distinct style that's really difficult to notice, and what he does is his camera movement is so calculated with character movement, and apparently what it does is it subconsciously makes you feel connected to the characters because the camera constantly moves at the same speed and within their
See,
space.
I don't know whether I'm seeing things that I don't know whether you're seeing things that people don't see.
Yeah, and I wouldn't have noticed that unless I'd watched because a guy did an essay on it. And I read his essay, and I remember, then I watched one of his films and went, "Oh my god, it's so obvious."
Because the only thing I think about when I'm watching a film is this story interesting to me? I'm not concerned about the camera movement. I'm really not. I'm really concerned with is this story of interest to me, and am I convinced by the story? I don't often see actors who I think that guy or that woman can't do it. Very rarely do I see that. Mostly I think they're all fine.
But that's why films are made. Different films are made for different people. Like 1917 is a film that people will love, but people like myself will appreciate it more because I'm watching it going, okay, it's on a steady cam and then it moves over a trench and I'm like, how on earth did they do that? And I'm thinking about the production of it.
I'm thinking, why would you be thinking that?
I know.
Just watch the film.
And sometimes it ruins
watch
films.
the bloody film.
Like
man.
I watched Game Night with Twain last night, and you know the scene where he walks into his house and he's got the
This
shopping.
studio is not soundproof, by the way.
Not yet. And he's got the shopping bag. He's got a shopping bag and he's walking in with all of the chips.
Yes.
I
Oh yeah,
can
it's really
see
funny. Yeah.
There's a prop box at the bottom of that shopping bag. And then when we were watching Ozark the other night, me and Harrison both went, fucking hell, did you see that kid just look at his mark? And he like runs out. He's like, oh.
Oh right, I see. Yeah.
And it's
Actually,
funny,
just on comic performances, the bloke playing the cop in
Oh.
Game Night. What's his name? He was in Black Mirror, right?
Yeah,
That's the best Black Mirror I've ever seen, by the way.
He's such a good actor.
He looks like a guy we used to know around here, doesn't he? But he is so comic in that film.
Oh. Yeah,
Because he's minimalist, isn't he?
Yeah.
As Will Ferrell is enormous.
But a lot of his comedy in Game Night is funny because of camera work.
Okay, but okay.
No, it is. There's lots of stuff and camera tricks because like there's a really funny bit where Jason Bateman's brother Gets his name Carl Chandler.
Yeah.
He pulls up in his car.
In his Spider or whatever.
Yeah, and then Jason Bateman goes out to go and see. He's like, fucking hell, like, I hope this guy's not coming out. And it's over his shoulder, and he looks across to the house to see if the guy's there, and he's not. And then he looks back to Carl Chandler, and then when it cuts back, you can just see his like silhouette standing there.
Yeah. Okay, so that is okay, so that's humour, not he. That he's not a part of it.
Yeah.
It's the makers, but he was very funny,
Yeah,
very
he's
sinister, and he's so hurt, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But it's a good. He's very good. And I watched that Black Mirror. That's the first Black Mirror I ever watched, which is the worst way to do it.
USS Callister.
It's the worst way to ever do it because I started at the top, and since then I've come down and down and down.
No, but there's better episodes than that, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought that was so
I thought
clever.
A great idea for a Black Mirror episode.
I thought that was really clever.
Black Mirror is clever. Charlie Brooker.
It is. I think. I think it. I've never met Charlie Brooker, but he is, outstanding.
He was at the Onward premiere.
Was he?
Yeah.
I'd like to say hello to him. I know his wife.
My idea.
Yeah.
I've got a great idea. I sold someone my idea for a Black Mirror episode, and they went, "Oh, well, like what season is it in?" I said, "No, it's my idea."
Well, I'm sure you could get to meet Charlie. I mean, that's probably in Los Angeles, is he?
I don't know.
Well, with lockdown, you don't know anything, do you?
He's not making the new season because he said the world is in too dark a place to be ready for.
We can't parody what's happening to the world now.
I know, it's crazy.
I'm writing a new novel about being in London, and I'm not mentioning anything about the pandemic or coronavirus or anything, because I just see it as something which we've got to get through and get back to normal. Because I'm writing about what I remembered the world to be.
I'm sure there are people writing.
I bet there's going to be loads of coronavirus films, loads, but they're all going to be kind of samey.
Yeah,
dystopian, and I think everyone in masks is very dystopian. I look at it.
Well, I went to Leavesden 2 days ago to pick something up for Tom when I got to Berlin, and I was wearing a mask, and everyone's going in masks, and it looked like an apocalypse movie. Like the bottom floor of the Leavesden car park is now like a channel.
Yeah.
And people kept coming up to me and going, "Harry, how are you?" Because I've obviously got quite distinctive hair, so people can recognise me through the mask. But I'm looking at people going, "I've not got the faintest clue who you are."
Yeah, because you lose that. Yeah.
Well, because I can't see someone's face, and most people have got the same haircut. So I'm like, they're like, "Oh, how have you been?" And I'm like, "Great, how are you?"
Yeah,
I'm not a clue. Like.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, it is weird. It's a strange.
But I haven't made any reference to it. I did wonder whether I should, but part of the reason why I thought I wouldn't is because it'll be another Corona novel.
Yeah.
I wrote it during the lockdown, but I'm just assuming it's finished or it never happened to my story, and because if you did include it, you'd have to change everything. You couldn't be together. You couldn't meet. You couldn't do anything. So I thought that's going to be a really bland.
Have you seen Contagion?
I thought about watching. We've all scrolled through Netflix, desperately hoping that might be something new on. Come on, something I want to watch. And I've looked at Contagion a few times and have heard from it. I thought, no, I don't fancy it. I'm living in it.
Yeah.
I'm living in it. I don't want.
That's a bit more.